Steven Otten, Ronan's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture, films, and the world we see. Deleted scenes, where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews, to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews, to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Yeah. Steven Otten, your YouTube bro, let's roll.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen out there in YouTube land. I am Deleted Scenes, human being, American, and YouTube Ronin. I'd like to welcome you to tonight's episode of Unscripted. I want to first off say hello to everyone currently joining us on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I'll say hello to a few people who've joined us here in the live chat. The first one here at 725. Faithful Blue Wrench channel member, the Bird Woman of YouTube. Watch out for her channel, Fluff Chick Productions. It's Connie Clary. Channel member, JPRPH1. Friend of the channel, Deep Henzak. All right, now, I want to preface tonight's show by saying that I never watched Starfleet Academy. This is not a review of the show or of any of the shows. This is merely a program about numbers. This is not me trying to gloat or me being happy that this show is canceled. I feel sorry for the people who are involved who are going to be out of work after they're finished with season 2. But this is part of a bigger problem. And hello to Geek Flag with Nate Nose, channel member. Good to see you, sir. All right. Now, the numbers were revealed, the ratings for Starfleet Academy were revealed in the last week. And it turns out that the average number of viewers for per episode were about 40,000. Now, that's a pretty respectable number if you are a YouTuber of my stature, who's admittedly very low on the totem pole. But it's not good if you are like a major network show, or if you are part of the flagship franchise on your streaming service. Now, there are a number of people here on YouTube who can average out 40K viewers. It happens every day. I have videos on my channel, not many, but I have a few that have had more views than your average episode of Starfleet Academy. And if that is taking place when me, a guy who is a virtual nobody on YouTube, has more viewers for his videos than this show does, that is part of a venerated franchise, then something has gone seriously wrong. Now, and thank you, Nate, for the member chat. 17 months, thank you, sir. I do have two. For those of you who are members, I do have two member streams planned between now and the end of the month. I'll let everybody know exactly when, since you are somebody. Well, I'm glad that you think so. I do appreciate that. Now, how many of those 40,000 people were people hate watching it? I don't know. I am somebody who's not for necessarily hate watching something. I get it, you know. Now I could have blown my channel up watching and reviewing Starfleet Academy, but I chose not to do it. And I did that for two reasons. First off, I knew by just what little bits I was seeing, not based on reviews, based on little bits and pieces of the show that I was seeing, I knew this was not going to be for me. You know, there were 3 points at which I probably would have stopped watching. Number 1 was the woman swallowing the comm badge, which, if you're doing that, you shouldn't be in a Starfleet uniform. You know, and the second part of the first verse would be not running around screaming red alert, red alert, red alert in the middle of a friggin' red alert. You are very clearly someone who does not belong on the bridge of a starship. The second part, where I probably would have turned it off if I had gotten that far, would have been the guy puking glitter. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2026, there was a program where a character pukes glitter. The third strike, would have been the depiction of the Klingons. Which much has been said. You know, yeah. Look, I'm sorry, folks, but I'm going to have to be honest. You're putting a Klingon in a skirt? What are you doing? And I'm not even going into Noga Landau, a writer on the show, who not only writes herself a character, but writes herself to be Dax. What are you doing, Hollywood? And Nate makes the point here, a character puking glitter is something I would have expected as a one-off gag on the Orville. Yeah, and you know why you didn't see that on the Orville? Because even Seth MacFarlane knows not to do something that stupid. The Orville is a better Star Trek show than anything Alex Kurtzman has done. All right, I don't want to get the chat go too far. Hello to Willie the Man. Hello to Aged Boomer. Boomer will be hosting Geeky Geezers here at the top of the next hour. Stay to the end of this broadcast. You'll be automatically redirected. Want to say hello to the tired midnight blogger, the voice of Northern Oklahoma, Curtis Selby. Good to see you, sir. Says I couldn't take much after the captain was promoted because she was a good babysitter. Nate says, to be honest, deleted. I seriously consider doing a hate watch review of this show, and I'm not knocking anybody who did, but it's just not me. Yeah. Harcourt, Fenton, Mud, Klingon. Is that what they did? That's too bad. The Orville's a love letter to Gene Roddenberry's vision of Star Trek. Orville's way better than Trek than anything Kurtzman did. Hello to you, Sarn G. Now, like I said, I am not here to gloat. I'm not puffing my chest out claiming, hey, I'm better than Starfleet Academy. I'm not doing that. I'm saying this is part of a bigger problem. And this goes back to something else that I said earlier in the broadcast. I am talking about the guys that are on set who are just there to pull cable, to build sets. The average day-to-day guy. You know, the names that scroll up at the end of every movie, at the end of every television show. Yes, as D. Penzak says, the grips, the ACs. And hello to our man from the future, Sashi. Good to see you, sir. These are the people that I'm talking about. These are the people that I feel sorry for, because these people are like us. Okay, they are the day-to-day. They're the people who get up and go to work, have a hard job, are never thanked. And they are the people who are losing their jobs right now. The Robert De Niro's of the world are going to be all right. The Whoopi Goldbergs of the world are going to be all right. These are the people that I'm the most worried about. And they are the people who are out of work right now. Or very soon will be, because those are the people who are the first ones to feel the effects of something like this. Now, Chris Gore had the screenwriter of American History X on his show earlier this week. I didn't watch the entire interview, but I saw enough of it. And he's absolutely right. These people have got to calm down. They got to be quiet. they got to get back to, and this is exactly the same thing Andy Weir was trying to say. Okay, these people have got to calm down. These wokey types, they got to calm down because they're the ones who are chasing away the audience. There are people in Hollywood that just want to tell good stories, that want to make things that everybody can go out and see and enjoy. They may seem few and far between, and they probably are, but they're there. And they are the ones who are getting hurt by this. I have said it myself many times on this show. I don't want to see the theaters close down. I might not be in the hurry necessarily to go to a movie like I used to, but I don't want the movie theaters to close. We need more movies like Project Hail Mary, like I Swear, or even that Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die movie. Netflix needs to put movies like War Machine and like Extraction into theaters. They can make money that way. And yes, thank you, Nate, for the $2 super chat. I do appreciate it. Go ahead and gloat. We won't judge. And I understand that, but I am talking about the big picture right now, and this is and hello to Wallace Lang, and Wallace is absolutely right here. This is I feel that the people who work in the background in Hollywood are going to suffer from the jerks who had to choose to feed the public garbage. Exactly, and this is what I'm talking about. And when it has gotten to the point to where even YouTubers with small channels like myself have videos that are being watched by more people than were watching Starfleet Academy, then something has gone wrong. And this is the message that these people need to understand. Now, I have put it out there. Be the competition. And people have very obviously chosen to do exactly that. We have more people watching YouTube right now than we have going to theaters and watching either commercial television or streaming. In a few years, they're going to be televising the Oscars on YouTube. You already have the streaming services taking over boxing, MMA, baseball, and what have you. And that's been going on for a few years now. This isn't the old days. Where is Monday Night Football? Where is the wide world of sports? Where's the Sunday night movie of the week that everybody would have been home watching right now and not listening to me? Things have changed. Nobody wants to watch what Hollywood is putting out right now. And they have made their decision. The people have made their decision, and they're turning to us. I didn't come into this looking for any kind of celebrity. I'm just a guy. And I'm still just a guy. But the numbers don't lie. There were more people watching a Jester Bell's reviews or watching Nerdrotics reviews of Starfleet Academy than were actually watching the show. That's just sad. This is Star Trek. This has been around since before I was born. It was 1966 when it first came on the air. I want to see Star Trek return to its former glory. It is not getting there like this. Now, after Starfleet Academy goes off the air after season 2, there's not going to be there are not going to be any other Star Trek shows on the air. Now, we got the movie, and we don't even know if this thing is even going to be made yet. But we have the film that's being written by the guys who did the Dungeons and Dragons film. And I think they did Game Night as well, which actually was a good movie. And I think one of them used to be on that Bones program. But aside from that, that's it for Star Trek right now. That's just sad, man. I don't want to see these franchises go away. I hate what's happened to Star Trek, what's happened to Star Wars, what they did to Doctor Who. And I'm not even a big Doctor Who guy, but now that I've seen some of these past episodes, I can tell the difference in quality. And USRNG is right. Right now, there are better fan films than there are shows. That's absolutely correct. Let me go back to the chat for a minute. Deep Pensex is what executive producer would want to hire these unreliable talent, in quotes. I don't know. That's the problem. I mean, Kurtzman said this himself, that this is a delivery system for the message. The guy told us what he was going to do. And then he did it. Nate says Hollywood's biggest problem is they live in a bubble. They think if they tell the audience what to think enough times, we will become brainwashed and compliant. There's too many people who think for themselves. Yeah. Absolutely right. I've got them in the chat with me right now. Deep Pensex says, do you think Hollywood will learn from their mistake? We give Kurtzman a contract of this type. Alex Kurtzman needs to be immediately fired. He needs to be He needs to be run out of Hollywood on a rail. Wallace Lang says, I was 6 years old in 1966. Loved the original Star Trek series as a child. I'd seen it first run on NBC. Yeah. I came along a little bit later. So I saw the series in syndication, and I'll be honest, I probably saw the animated series and the first movie probably before I saw any episode of the original series. And I still want to see Mr. Erics on screen, damn it. You can do it now. There's makeup, there's CG. You can do it. Oh. It's a sad thing, man. Because they did it deliberately. That's the thing. They threw away their old fans for this so-called modern audience who does not watch this content. They threw it away for their message. And now they're trying to tell us, well, Star Trek was always woke. No, it wasn't. Were the left-wing politics there? Of course. But you had to look for it. Because, and Hollywood used to get this right, okay? It was that you could take away, if you took away politics that have always been in movies and that have always been on television, still enough meat there that you could stay entertained. Have now left the entertainment part. And just give you this political messaging, this political agenda, this propaganda. And they all do it now. Bruce Springsteen can't get through a goddamn concert anymore without going into some kind of political rant. Now Hans frickin' Zimmer is doing it. They need to stop. They need to realize what they are doing, but they are living inside of this bubble, and they are going to burn down their own industry if they have not already done it. Because I'm look, and I'm not saying anything out of school. This is stuff that people tell me. There are people who are not going to come back. This is why Indian films are so popular now. This is why Korean films are so popular. This is why people go to anime. Or they just stop watching altogether. Nate says the Star Trek IP and Star Wars IP has something in common. They are both worth more known new TV shows or movies than they are now. I've told you guys before, Star Trek made me the person I am today. Yeah. And some of the content that you've put out, Nate, very much reminds me of OG Trek. It really does. Ustar G says, I think woke just got way worse. They're biting the hands that feed. Yeah. Wallace says, Star Trek was both good sci-fi and fine allegory current events projected into a future tense. Yeah. And they forgot how to do that because they don't have the writers who are talented enough to do it. Difference between what Star Trek used to be and woke is Star Trek asks a viewer to think, and woke Trek tries to tell you what to think. Yes. If you don't think that way, then you're wrong. Yep. TOS influenced a lot of people. Yeah. Because TOS was hopeful about the future. It wasn't this nihilistic. It wasn't this nihilistic doom and gloom. And look, I am not afraid of dark, challenging material. I don't personally believe that everything has to have a happy ending all the time. But at the same time, you can't end everything that way. Okay, it can't be doom and gloom all the time. You have to have hope. You have to have something that people can strive for. That's why Project Hail Mary is doing so well. Because those were the kind of movies that were being made. There is a sense of, and this isn't even my way of saying it. This is something that I heard another YouTuber say, and they're right. It brings back the sense of wonder that we've lost in recent films. And he wasn't even going as far back as the 80s. He was only going as far back as, the early 2000s. And he was right. Movies still felt like movies until about, I don't know, maybe 2010. I would say certainly in the last 10 years, there's been a downturn for sure. Curtis says wokeness and classical liberalism are two very different things. No, I agree. I agree with that absolutely. And I don't consider them. I don't consider them the same. They try to cancel Richard Dreyfuss because he's somebody who's trying to bring that sort of classic liberalism back. Okay, yeah, the guy's a grumpy mother effer. He always has been, but he's right. And the thing is that the classical liberals are starting to sound like what conservatives used to sound like 20 years ago. It's kind of weird. I'll just, how it's turned. It's like, I am like, please give me the old Democrat Party back, and I'm not even a Democrat, but it's like, come on, give me somebody like Richard Dreyfuss. I can talk to him, and that's how far we've gone. Thank you, deleted. That is high praise indeed. Well, you're welcome. It's deserved. USRNG says, I went to see Project Hail Mary. It was awesome. Yeah, I'd like to see it again. I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to see it again in theaters, but it's definitely one I intend to. I still haven't reviewed it on my channel yet, but it's definitely one that I would very highly recommend, and I would definitely buy the 4K. 2016 is when the movies and television start to fall apart and become infected with this virus. Yeah. So now we have this merger, and if the merger goes through, I don't know what that's going to do, because I don't think that David Ellison is the white knight that some people believe that he is. I am hoping that clearer heads will prevail, but in lieu of that, we are going to have to go somewhere else for our entertainment, or failing, go to the independent creators, and that may very well include us. Because we have more eyes on us now than we have ever had before. And more people are watching us than are watching these other programs. Well, this is, I love watching my Star Trek DVDs of the original series, the animated series, and the first 6 theatrical movies. Read the old paperback books by James Blish and Alan Dean Foster. Indeed. USRNG says he hopes he can get it on DVD. Qapla! Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Good to see you, sir. Nate says 2016 is when they came up with toxic fan defense. There are no toxic fans. Toxic creatives don't give a damn about the fans or the fandom. You have, and these kids from Star Wars just can't seem to shut up, Just today, I saw a thing where John Boyega went after the fans, and I'm like, we were on your side, dude. Ryan Johnson screwed you over. J.J. Abrams screwed you over. Don't complain to us, Daisy Ridley just at this point needs to go away. It's just, that's the thing. I'm getting to the point where I just want the actors to go away. Yeah, I don't want to hear from John Boyega anymore. I'm through trying to, I was on his side because I thought his character got screwed over, and now I don't feel so sorry for him. Daisy Ridley has not been in a good movie. I'm sorry, she just hasn't. I'm sure she's a very decent girl in real life. I don't give a shit. Okay. Because they don't know how to make a good movie. It's a shame. JP says, I heard you'll be able to see PHM in some theaters and listen to the director's commentary through an app designed for the hard of hearing. I don't know if any theater near me is going to do that. And there's another movie that they're going to do that with too, where they're going to air like the director commentary along with the film. And honestly, I hope more theaters do that, especially with something like PHM. Indeed. I'm curious. You see, because this is what I'm talking about. There are ways that we can be innovative in the theaters and do things that are different and make it more of an interactive experience. Only here for a minute. Need to listen tomorrow, and my meatloaf is smoking. I'm almost done. Okay, well, don't burn the meatloaf, man. Enjoy your dinner. Jar Jar is just a screw up. Yeah, sadly, yeah. I mean, I think J.J. Abrams has been involved with things that I've liked. But I think he started to believe his own press because he was surrounded by people who were telling him he was going to be the next Spielberg, and sadly that has not worked out. So Grills says I managed to find the audiobook of Star Trek Destiny on YouTube. Nice. Wait, the smoke alarm isn't a timer? No! No, dude. You gotta fire, put that shit out. All right. Let me Darth Jar Jar. Yeah. I wonder if that would have been a good idea. Doomcock refers to Abrams as the cinematic antichrist. Abrams destroys every single intellectual property he's hired to direct. Nate says John Boyega is an insufferable brat. Says things like England is too white. He's an idiot. Yeah. I'm like I said, I'm kind of past him. I felt sorry that he got screwed over into films, but now I don't care. I don't care what he does or says, honestly. Well, there is something good that has come out of this. I have said on a number of occasions on my channel to be the competition. And I think it's pretty safe to say that we have become that competition. And I think we have them running scared. And we have made them notice us. And the attacks against us will ramp up. We are the front line. Now is not the time to retreat. I want to thank everybody who was watching tonight on X. I can't see you, but I know that you're there. I want to thank everybody who is watching here on YouTube or anybody who might come upon this program later on. I want to thank Nate once again for the super chat and the member chat. Says they've been staring at us with those woke eyes, but do you talk some people like critical drinker? He just blinked. Exactly. The message is, and always will be to be the competition. Hold the line. I want to thank all of the new subscribers over the last couple of weeks, the new members. If you are watching my program for the first time and you like what you see, please subscribe. From HQ and all points north, south, east, west, and beyond, good night. Take care, stay strong, be safe and healthy, because this is how we win.
Ronin's back, slicing through the noise with a culture attack. Pop culture films in the world we see. Deleted scenes where the truth runs free. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Take care, stay strong, we're breaking the mold. Be safe, stay healthy, let the story unfold. From watch parties, reviews to the news we spin. Deleted scenes, yeah, this is how we win. Yeah, yeah. Your YouTube, bro, let's go.